we're seeing we are seeing tons of activity with new buyers. We're pre-approving more people within a couple days than we did all of November and December. We've had 42 pre-approvals just these last 2 weeks. So I think that what hits us first eventually hits you guys, right? So I think that's just a great sign. And I've seen markets like this before where things kind of fizzle out and our buying season is condensed to a short time frame. And who knows what is on the horizon. Here's what I know. I know interest rates are going up very quickly. I know people are losing tons of money in the stock market right now. And that will eventually mean a less buyer pool for us, right? Which means not as much listing activity, even if the inventory is low, which the things that are happening now will decrease demand and will decrease what money people have available to purchase. So will it catch up right away? Who knows? I'm prepared for a short buying season and we're working really hard right now to get that done. So I'm going to start with a shameless plug, and I promise this is the only thing that I'm going to plug cross country, my team and your loan officer that invited you on today. Remember, has anyone heard how much interest rates have gone up? Raise your hand if so. It's about 0.5% to 0.6%. As of right now, it's looking like that trend's going to continue. So what that means for the lending industry is 75% of refinance applications are gone, right? What's that all mean for you guys? David, you're unmuted. What's that mean to you?
Well, it means you look, buying power is diminished. Prices have not come down, so that's the number that buyers are seeing, that their payments for the same property at the same price are now up hundreds of dollars over what they were in the just fall.
What it means is more annoying calls from loan officers is what it really means for you guys. So alls I ask you all that are on, remember, I've been calling, your loan officer's been calling on you for the last 2 or 3 years. Hopefully we've been doing the right things to support, to try and support you. Just please remember that in these coming months, because you're going to get overwhelmed with lender calls. You're going to get all the annoying calls that I know I always make to you. Some people are going to start popping out of the woodwork and get desperate after your business. So hopefully you can remember that we've been calling on you for a long time, and that's all I ask. So I'm going to start, and I have a few people on that I'm going to have just share some of their successes in these areas. Agents that I work with that think do a really good job in these areas. So if you see me kind of pause, I'm looking to see who's on. There's some people that I know are on today that I think do a great job in this area. And I've seen a lot of growth in them since they started focusing on these things. So these are the 22 things for an explosive start to your 2022. I had a few agents that I invited say, nah, hey, don't you do this every year at this time? I say, yes, I do this every year at this time. And they're like, well, I saw the last one. I go, cool. Are you doing all 21 things from last year perfectly? And all of their answers was no. And I see 2 of them on. Well, you should probably be on again. I get the benefit of being professionally trained and coached by the core training. And the honest truth is, it's the same things over and over again. I'm just being reminded of the things I'm still not doing that I could be doing to grow my business and to be better than I am today. So I think the fundamentals are always there to be reminded. I think there's always things from this list that we can improve upon and get better and have better relationships with our clients, which in turn leads to more referrals from our current and past clients, and a relationship-based business, not a transactional business. So Carrie, once again, if you can mute everybody to avoid the background, and I'll call on some people. I'll call on some people that I want to share. So these are the 22 things you can do to have your best year ever in 2022. Now, I don't think any of you are going to take these 22 things and perfect them right after this call. So don't get overwhelmed with the rapid fire tactics. I believe in pouring into you with a lot of tactics. Take 3 or 4 things from this list that you're going to work on this year. There's no way to do 22 of them. Now, I have worked really hard on these 22 things myself over an 8-year time frame. So I can't say I've perfected them, but I've got pretty good at most of these areas. I share things that I believe I've done a good job of growing in. So no, it is a long path to get really good at some of these things. For me, some of them have taken 7-8 years of working on them before we got a really good system in place. So these things are always evolving. You're always tweaking. You're always trying to make them a little bit better. And I wish I could tell you that it was really slow right now, so you could work a lot on your business and not in your business. But I know if you're anything like us, that plan has kind of been ripped up. So take 2 or 3 of these things today, change them in your business, and work on perfecting 3 things. And I know if you can do that, I'm going to help you make more money today. Cool. So this is our list. This is what we're going to go. I'm going to go really fast, and then I will slow down on each of these things. I'm going to show you how to do annual review calls. I think this is one of the biggest myths from the top 40 realtors that I work with. We had about 35 of them that said they weren't doing them. I think it's the biggest miss that you can have is not staying in contact with the people that have already trusted you once with a real estate transaction. I always tell this story. I don't see any of them on. Oh, one of them's on. I'm going to say it anyways. So I have bought and sold over $8 million of real estate in my life as a consumer. Anybody that has helped me with the buy or the sale has never followed up with me once as a client. Now, I don't know if they think it's good enough because I do their lending that we just talk that way, but I've never had anyone in real estate follow up with me and do an annual review call. So I think that's a huge miss. Having a great birthday program. People think that's got to be expensive. I'll show you some ways it's not. Know your 1-year vision. Know what your business plan is for this year, what's your strengths, what your weaknesses, and how you're going to improve them. Have a 5-year vision as well. Know where you're taking your business. What does it look like in 5 years? Set your marketing plan and your marketing calendar now, so you don't have to do it and be reactionary in it. It's on a calendar and it's proactive. And if you have a team, awesome. Have the plan set. If you don't have a team, have the plan set for yourself. Make sure you're doing some cool client events. We'll help you with that. Number one thing that we always have to do for our business is prospecting. If you have peaks and valleys in your business like this, it means you're not prospecting enough to keep feeding the engine, right? And I'll help you with that. Weekly schedule, make sure you're super time blocked and regimented. Scripting, what are some strong sales scripts that can help you? What can you do to up your lead conversion? I'm expecting our leads to be down 20 to 30% over last year. The last 2 years in the lending world has been Candyland. It is fake. We are all sick on sugar. It is, some people have thrown up. It's just not sustainable. A couple of my loan officers are on. I talk to them about it all the time. It has been fake, and just, it was due to the COVID special of the most ridiculously low interest rates that we'll probably ever see. So we're expecting our lead conversion to have to be higher. I'll give you some tactics behind that. Better your listing presentation and your buyer presentation. Have a set process. I'm going to help you with that. Direct the conversation, right? We want to be the professionals, but we also want to ask great questions. I believe directing the conversation comes from great questions. I'm going to help you with a few. Establish rapport with your client and a few hacks to help you establish rapport. I'm not the best at relationship building. I'm kind of brash. I'm kind of direct. So I have to work really hard to be in good relationships with the client. So I have a few hacks that I use to cheat a little bit and get to know them and find some commonality with them. Mining your database, staying in contact with your past clients. Kind of said this before, but it's always, and by the way, I'm talking to myself on this because up until 3 years ago, I never called on my database. So when I tell you that story about the realtors that have never called on me, that have done my deals, I've also for let's see, 16 out of the 20 years in this mortgage business, I did the same thing. So I've just seen the results from fixing that. So once again, these are all things that we're working on to get better. Keep communicating with your clients. That's having a good follow-up plan. Letter of the week calls. What is that? Having a complete greatness tracker, which we call the Millionaire Forum, because there's no way you can fill it out every week for 5 years and not make $1 million after it. So that's what we call it in my coaching program, is the Millionaire Forum. How to run a good lead tracker. What should go on the lead tracker? Time blocking. What's the green, red, and yellow mean? Running a personal family budget and a budget for yourself, and running a profit and loss for your business. The wealth accumulator, and taking care of the number one client, who is who? It is you. You are the number one client. The business does not survive without you. I know we all think we're going to like sell this great book of business to some other realtor. I don't see that being successful that much. And I don't see people getting the money out of it that they thought they would. So we got to take care of the business. I believe the business is you, and the business fails if you're not taking care of yourself eventually. So what's the first thing? How are we going to do great annual review calls? Number one, if we can write this down, Ford: family, occupation, recreation, and dreams. And this is the first hack I'm going to give you to be in a great relationship. When I call a client from 2 years ago, I just got off the phone with one. That's why I was kind of coming screeching in. The conversation went a little long. When I know their kids' names, when I know where they went to school, when I have their jobs written down and what they do, when I know what their hobbies are, and I know what they like to do, what their dreams and aspirations are, and I follow up after 2 years and I remember all that, they're my client, right? When I say, how are the kids? How's your wife? And I don't use specific names. I don't remember what they do. I don't remember anything about them. I am transactional. I'm just another number to them. I'm just another realtor. I'm just another lender. When I know these things and can talk through them with them, I'm now in a relationship with them. So make sure you capture that information. You guys have clients in the car with you a lot. Maybe you don't have them in the car now. Maybe they're driving separate. I hear a lot of realtors are doing that now because of COVID. They're not in the car with them, but you do have a lot of time with them, client facing, showing them property. Capture that information, know the names of their kids. If they have kids, know the name of their wife or their spouse or their partner. Figure those things out. So when I'm calling the clients and doing annual reviews, I'm going back through their Ford: family, talk to them about their family, occupation, recreation, and dreams. Here's the catch. This is the number one thing. Is this your dream home? If they say no, what can we do to make this your dream home? Or do I need to be looking for your dream home later on down the line? Okay, is this your dream home? And if they say no, well, what can we do to make this your dream home? Or am I looking for a future property for you? That is setting up future business. I have an agent who's in the coaching that I'm in. His name is Phil Puma. He's doing a $6 million farm right now for one of his clients because he asked that question. Their dream was to have a rescue farm where rescue farm animals went to and they could take care of them. Very wealthy man. He's got a $6 million deal under contract because of that one question. So that's a great question. The second thing, so number one, on an annual review call, you want to review their Ford. Second thing you want to do is review their value. Don't underestimate the great move you had these people make 2, 3, 4 years ago by buying a home. When you show most of them the equity they've built, put it in their mind what they could do with that money. Maybe you want to remodel the house to make it your dream home. I have a contractor. I have a lender that could help you access that equity. I have a designer that could help you out with that. You can look for people within your database to refer them. Cool. But put it in their mind, and really what you're doing behind the scenes is, hey, I did a great job for you last deal. Don't forget about me on the next deal because I just made you a lot of money. Show them what that you feel that value is. Now I do it through a tool called HomeBot. It's an automated value. If they want more detailed, I tell them it's an estimate. I tell them that it's automated and that the realtor that did the deal with them will have a lot more accurate of value through them for them through a CMA. So I just think it's a value add you can add to the client. What we're doing with that value is we're leading into the next question. What do you have to do with your house? Is there anything else I can do for you? Hey, any question you have on real estate, legally, financially, I have great people in my network that I can refer you to. So look for some introductions to some of your partners. There's two reasons to do this. Number one, have a great VIP list. Your lender should be on it. Your attorney should be on it. Your insurance agent should be on it. Look for opportunities for them. I call them making deposits, so you can ask for some withdrawals later on down the line. Cool. And what I mean by that is you can ask for deals back from them. Hey, I sent you like 20 deals this year. Can you please look out for one for me? So you're making some deposits for your VIP list to obligate them to send some business back for you. But also a second reason is you don't want your clients going to ask somebody else for professionals, right? Then if they get in another network, that other network might take them away from you, the agent. Okay. And if I'm being honest with you, there's some realtors from back in the day that I don't work with anymore. 7, 8, 9 years ago, I'm referring them to my people now because I'm keeping in way better contact with them than those agents do. So just know that that is happening to you if you don't keep in great contact with them. Cool. Program for a referral, that's kind of the last thing. You want to ask them for their help. Hey, I could really use your help. Sounds like we've taken great care of you. Sounds like we made you a lot of money. If you know anyone renting or you know anyone who might need to buy, sell real estate within this year, could you look for an introduction for me? I just need one. Could you look to refer one person to us? You're programming them for a referral. So that's what you want to do through the annual review call. I think it's the biggest miss in business. How do I know? Because we just started doing them religiously this year. We had 18 referrals from them in December, starting in January. So they were well worth our time to make those calls. Along with this, you want to have a great birthday program. So number one, you need to know their birth date. Get with your lender. They should have all their birth dates. It's part of the mortgage application. Have an all about you form. If you enter your name into the chat, we will get you our all about you form. This is the best form to stay in relationship with your clients. I have an A, B, and C list for my birthdays. So A list is anyone in my database. I don't care if they did business with me or not. They get a happy birthday card from me and a lottery ticket. It costs us $1.40 to send out. I have had some borrowers that went with another lender. And then the second time around, I had sent them a birthday card and a lottery ticket, and their lender had forgot about it. Guess who got the next deal? Okay. Even people that maybe scorned me and like made me do all this work, and then they went with another lender last second. I still try and call them on their birthday and send them a birthday card and a lottery ticket. Someone that's done business with me or referred me a deal, they get a birthday card and a $10 gift certificate. I use Amazon gift certificate or a Starbucks. I'm saying gift certificate, but I mean gift card. And then my C list is people that have done multiple deals. They've somehow been responsible for multiple deals with me. They get a birthday card and a $50 gift, and we make that personalized. And we get that from their all about you form, which once again, if you enter into the chat, we'll email you ours, or I have it on their mortgage application when their birth date is, and we creep them on Facebook a little bit. So that's the birthday program. I think it's the best way to honor someone, love on them, and have them think about you, and it's a reason to reach out. So third, you got to do something for yourself. Have a 1-year vision, have a business plan. If you guys need one and haven't set one, once again, put your email in the chat and we will forward this form to you. What's your taxable income last year? How many units did you do? How many staff members you have? What your current monthly expenses are? And most importantly, where did your business come from last year? And do you have to adjust because something radical has changed? So I just told you 75% of refinance business is gone. The mortgage applications are down over 75% when it comes to refinances. So that's 75% of the business us as lenders did last year that we got to figure out how to replace. So I just got tactical with it. I got to call on this many builders. I got to ask my past clients to introduce us to their HR director so we can become a part of their benefits package, right? And I got to work with 10 more realtors this year. So I know that business is going away. I can plan for it. I can prospect accordingly. Okay. Be honest with yourself where your biggest weaknesses are at. Be honest with yourself how much you saved last year and what your true net income was. Most of us should be working on our taxes, hopefully sometime soon. These would be good things that you need to look at to add into that and work your way into those taxes. So a 1-year vision is super duper important. Cool. I went one too far ahead. Where are you now and where will you be? These are 1-year goals in each area of your life. So I think too much we focus on just work and not these other areas. Okay, so where are you frustrated now? Rate it from 1 to 10. What are 2 things you're frustrated at work? 2 things you're frustrated at money? 2 things with your love life, 2 things with your family, and so on down the list: spirituality, friends, and self. And then what are your 2 goals for the year to fix that and how important those things are for you? So this is a whole separate lunch and learn, and I can dive deeper into anybody on these areas. But just to give you some successes since I've been doing this every year, I had a group of high school friends that I had lost touch with. There was 10 of us. It was on my friends' goals to stay in touch with them and plan 2 guys trips. Now this might sound a little selfish, but I looked down at our guys trip. We went to a football game all together. And I looked down the row and there's 10 of them there. And I put this on my vision about 5 years ago. They're now on my VIP list. They get a call from me once a month. They get a birthday present on their birthday. They get several calls from me a year. But I looked down the row. Before I had put them on my list, I had done none of their mortgages. I looked down the row at the football game we were at this fall. I had done all their mortgages. Not a coincidence. Cool. So there is a selfish reason to do this as well. My reason was not why to put it on there. I just felt bad that I hadn't stayed in contact with my friends that I grew up with. I fixed it and all the business came from it. So that's the kind of success you can have from where are you now, where are you frustrated, and then where will you be? The cool story I have about this is I did it with my twin 6-year-olds for the first time this year. And Nora and Colette, who are my 2 twin 6-year-old girls, it was unbelievable to watch them talk about where they're frustrated. Now, the love life, I just put mom and dad, so they could only say that. They couldn't talk about any boyfriends they had at school. That was my only non-negotiable doing this with them. But it was just unbelievable to hear some of their answers. And I was like, wow, I didn't know you're frustrated about that. One of my daughters was the family. I don't ever get to see my cousins. I never get to spend time with them. I'm like, cool. Where our goal this year is we're going to make a trip to see all of your cousins, and we're going to spend a long weekend with both of them to make sure you're not frustrated. Will that stop you from being frustrated about it? They're like, yeah, Daddy, that would be awesome. So it helped me set some plans for my family too. And what I'm trying to create in them is just problem solving. Like, hey, I don't have to remain frustrated about this. I can fix it. And here are my goals to fix it. So it's just a really cool parenting moment to help them out with that. 5-year vision. These are big aha goals. So 3 years ago, I set a big 5-year vision and I look back at it now and it just wasn't big enough. So I was proud to say this past, it would have been October, I finished the last thing on my last 5-year vision. So I got to rewrite a new one. And what I learned about this every 3 to 5 years that I've done it is I'm just not dreaming big enough because I always hit them before 5 years. And this is something I review once a week, every Wednesday morning. And these are my big aha goals. These are vacations. These are long weekends. These are stuff I want to accumulate. This is the money that I want to have. The biggest success was 5 years ago. I can tell you I was greedy and selfish. I made good money. I gave very little away to charity. I'm super proud to say we gave over $300,000 away to our community this year. And out of all the things, it's what I was just most proud of, to give that kind of money away and give that to support to people that needed it. It just made everything else on here feel so good. So set some big ahas. If you would have asked me 5 years ago, I would have laughed at you saying I would give that kind of money away. It's just dreaming bigger is what I've realized. So dream big on this when you fill this out. Once again, if you want any of these forms, just put your email and put what form you want. Otherwise, we'll send them all to you when we're done. So maybe it's a weight goal, maybe it's activity, but you got to have a 5-year vision. You got to have things that you're working for. What does your business look like in 5 years? What does your client experience look like in 5 years? What does your body look like in 5 years? What does your family look like? What does your relationships look like? Give this form some time. I think it's the most important thing that we do. We talked about having a marketing plan. I'll send you an example of my marketing calendar. It's super easy. We get an old school calendar that the title companies still send to you, even though everything's on your computer now. But I love them because I can write on them and we just plan something out. Let me give you a little tactic. Your family comes first. Your time with yourself comes first. So if you don't have a family, your commitments to you come first on this calendar. I have all my trips planned. I have now things will come in on it and I will add to it, but I have the base for 2022 planned out. And there'll be some things that tweak can change, and that's okay. But I know and have executed a plan where every piece of marketing comes out. Every trip I'm going to go on as a family is planned out. It's just helped me to be way less reactionary when those times come up. So my first trip is the beginning of February. I can tell you now, with how busy it is, I would have never, ever taken that if I wouldn't have planned this last year and set that calendar into place. I paid for it. The airfare is there, so I'm going. And it would have been disrespectful to my family to not make that commitment. And then after your family time and personal time's on there, then you fit your work and business. Always structure your work life around your personal life, not vice versa. I want to give the best of me to my family, not what is left of me. And I think too many times in our industry, especially with times right now, the people that are important to us, and this might be yourself, you're giving what's left over instead of the best of yourself. So always give the best of yourself. And that starts by planning your personal things first. Do some cool client parties. We love the ugly Christmas sweater party. We didn't have it this year. Unfortunately, things changed at the venue that we had our Christmas party planned at, and they kicked us out kind of last minute, and we did not adjust. So we missed that one this year, but we will definitely do it next year. Have some client happy hours, even if they're once a year. Don't think you guys have to pay for everything. I'll say it again. Don't think you guys have to pay for anything or anything, right? You have a lot of people that you feed. If you feed people consistently, this is why I don't give 3 names on anything. I have my people in each area. Those people get my business. They get my referrals. Those are my deposits into them. I don't give a client 3 insurance agents. I give them 1. And when I go to my girl, Christine, and I need a client event sponsored, I know the client's going to be taken care of. She is there. If it's spreading across 3, I don't know if I get that level of support back. So I go all in with my partners and I have them help pay for some of our client parties. You guys have been at Lunch and Learns before that we have done. You can see that there's sponsors there almost every time. It helps offset that cost. And a lot of the times we don't pay anything. Do something for the community. If volunteering is important to you like it is to me, do a blood drive, do a clothing drive, do a toy drive, do something cool to engage the clients, even a toy drive. Hey, drop by a toy. I'm collecting and going for toys for tots. So I think those are things we can do to keep our name in front of the clients and let them know we're a pillar of our communities. So do some cool client events. All right. I'm going to take a drink of water because I know this is the big ugly word that none of us like to do. Have your lists and be accountable to calling them and having 30 outbound calls every day. I got to speak in front of a high school class about what I do and what it takes to be successful. And the kid asked me, what would be the number one thing you could tell me if I were to go in sales to be successful? And I told him, make 30 outbound calls every day and ask clients for your help when you know you deserve it. So those were the two pieces of advice I gave. And I can say that about 90% of the time I make 30 outbound calls. So I'm not perfect in it, but I'm pretty close to perfect on it. So why do we do this? And what are our lists? Well, we have to do this because we need to keep the conveyor belt moving. I used to have big peaks and valleys in my business. It's because I wasn't prospecting. I was waiting for the phone to ring. I wasn't making the phone ring. So what are these lists that we call on and who do we call? I think you guys call it your sphere of influence. I call it my VIP list. You can call it whatever you want. It's the 50 most important people in your life. And I'll sometimes get people to say, where am I supposed to get this? Do you have Facebook? Every once in a while, someone says no. And I'm like, well, you're going to have to go through your phone and pick 50 then. So go through your phone and pick 50 or pick 50 of your friends on Facebook. Okay. Don't overthink it. Like my friends that I sat by at the Iowa football game this year, all 10 of them are on my VIP list. I didn't overthink it. It wasn't to do business with them. It just was a great benefit that came from loving on them. So who are your 50 favorite people? Ask them about their jobs. Ask them how you can help them. Ask them how you can be a better friend to them. And people will eventually ask you questions back. How's things in real estate? How are interest rates? I've been thinking about selling my home. If you are good and in good relationships, the question will eventually come up of how they can help you. Well, funny, you should ask. I need some people selling or buying homes. So have your sphere of influence list. I have 60. That means if I call 15, they will hear from me once a month. So this is the only day that I don't call 30 because the conversations are usually longer. I call 15 VIPs on Friday. In our coaching program, we think realtors should call them on Monday. Top 50 favorite past clients. Okay. These are people that refer you. These are people that you're in good relationship with. These are people you could go to dinner with and ask them for their help. They are not people that when you're done with the deal, you want to just hit delete. Okay. Some deals are going to be transactional. Some deals are relational. When you get that relational client, don't lose touch with them. Stay in contact with them. Call them at least a couple times a year. Invite them to your client parties. They want to help you. And I find most of our clients that we do a good job for do genuinely want to help us. We just don't ask them for their help enough. I think a database should be 400 people. If you're marketing towards more than that, I just think it's too much. You can't be in relationship with more than 400 people. I found that to be about my max of past clients. I don't remember their names or I don't remember the deal. These are 400 people that I remember, I like, and my really rule or judgment of whether they should be on this list is, could I go have a beer with them and enjoy myself? And these are people that should be on this list. I think you need 10 big whales. Gosh, from a lending standpoint, I'm a whale. I literally could send an insurance agent 300 deals per year. I get no calls from insurance agents to do business with them. If they called me, I'd give it to them. If they followed up with me more than once, I promise I would send them some business. I just don't get any calls. So I think sometimes we think people are so big that they wouldn't work with us. And I find the big people are the people that don't get the calls. So that might be a home builder. It might be a big financial advisor. It might be a big divorce attorney. Don't think they have someone just because they're big. I found out the bigger that people are, the less of calls they get. So don't just go past big business people. They can immensely help your business out. Use a 10-4 form. Those are cold calls. Okay. So of all these forms, I'll let you slide on the last one if you don't like cold calling. I don't really like it either. But these are great. These other 4 lists just have to be dialed in. Cool. So what should you do with them once you have the list? Call them regularly, at least once a quarter. Invite them to some events, some happy hours, some lunch and learns like this, some client parties. Mail to them. I send a letter of the heart. That's just something about me personally. I hope you guys got my last one. You'll be getting the new one I just put together here soon. You guys that are my agents on this call should all be getting them. Send them videos. We hope you enjoy our videos and find them informative. And we hope you enjoy our birthday gifts. So these are things to do to stay in contact with these people. VIP list looks like this. We'll send you a copy of it. It's just super simple. Name, address, phone number, email, birthday, anniversary, hobbies. You can program into the CRM, or you can just have an old school piece of paper that you call on in a binder. Either one works fine. So how do we stay accountable to doing this? First and foremost, it needs to be time blocked in our schedule. And it has to be the first thing we do. If I get myself an email, if I take a few calls, if I have a few client events, once I go into email, my text messages, or start answering inbound calls, I'm done. I'm not going to finish my prospecting time. It's just, I get into my day, things come in, we all have to be a little reactive in our businesses, and it won't happen. So I've learned what's been successful for me is I have to make these calls between 10 and noon. Okay. So on Mondays, we believe in calling 50 favorite people. So you call 12 every Monday. Okay. So the top 50 favorite person list. So just call 12 of them. Okay. Have lunch with one of them per week. Put them on your birthday program. Invite them to monthly happy hours or quarterly happy hours. Tuesday, have a status call. The status calls are sellers in process and buyers and sellers under contract. Set up the stage of when you're going to communicate with them instead of always letting them ask you questions. We have a rule on my team: he or she who calls first wins. I will say it again. He or she who calls first wins. We also want to set the stage of when we're going to call. That way they know they're going to be hearing from us and they're going to get an update at that time. Otherwise, they're reaching out to you. And if they're reaching out to you, they're probably frustrated if they're reaching out to you, because I find most people don't want to make the call. So they're already a little upset if they're reaching out to you for status. So I believe setting proactive times that you're going to call the clients that are under contract or sellers in process will eliminate all these reactionary things you have to do throughout the day. Cool. Wednesday, we're calling old leads and hot leads. So these are people we're showing properties to, buyers you've done needs analysis on, or people you have not got in front of you for your buyer analysis yet, or your listing presentation. So we are focusing on hot leads and old leads on Wednesday. Any people that you introduce us, we are reaching out to 8 times before we stop calling them. And then we put them on a monthly drip. So we want to make sure we have enough follow-up long-term for those people that aren't deciding to go right away. We had several start the year with us say, hey, thank you for all your follow-up. I know we didn't talk to you once or answer any of your calls last year, but we're ready to buy now. Those leads would not have came in if we didn't keep on our contacts once a month. So don't think just because people don't call you back, they don't appreciate the follow-up. People will call you when they're ready to have the follow-up. So I think a good thing to tell people, what I tell a lot of clients right now is, hey, I'm going to call you once a month. Please don't ever feel like you have to call me back. I'm just checking in with you to give you an update on the market, see if there's anything you need. If you need me, call me back, but don't feel obligated to call me back. I used to get upset when people didn't call back. I've just got past that now. Thursday, we're calling our top 50 favorite past clients. I also use this day to call all of my past clients. So we do what's called a letter of the week call. There are 26 letters in the alphabet. There are 52 weeks in the year. So if you call all of your clients with the last name A every Thursday, obviously once you're done, you would move on to the next letter. But if you call the A's last week, and then the B's this week, and then the C's next week, you will call every client twice a year, because there's 26 weeks in the alphabet, and there's 52 weeks in the year. So you're calling all of your clients twice a year. I think it's a great time to do those annual review calls during that, and just to check in on their house. What are some other things we do for these people? We send them letters of the heart. They're on our birthday program, and they're on our annual event. And then Friday, we are prospecting for business people. I like builders. I like HR professionals at big companies. We have a loan officer at Cross Country that him and his realtor did over $100 million of business with 2 companies last year in the DC area, because he was cold calling business people, and he was asking every one of his clients to introduce them to his HR professional. Well, we have a program that waives the lender fees and tags the realtor that made the introduction in the client's benefit package. So say you work for Amazon and we got into Amazon, every employee would potentially be your client, and we waive the lender fees on it. So it's, hey, here's the realtor. Hey, here's Chad Lubin. You get a $1,480 credit if you use these 2 people to buy your home or sell your home. Pretty powerful. So we don't think that big accounts can't come from some of these calls. So some other good methods: drop in at some sellers, drop in on some new home models. Brock, are you on?
Yes, sir.
Talk about some of your successes you've been having dropping in on home builders.
Yeah, so just did one recently. On Fridays was the time period that I typically go. But yeah, just dropping in, saying hello to them. They're all struggling as well. There was 3 of them just sitting in there. They ended up just kind of having conversations with people, and they have to, their challenges between either lotteries that they're having to put in. They're only allowed so many homes that they can sell. So trying to just give them some value. One of the things I was able to do was talk to them about a local country club that was right around the area there, and to be able to share with them that, like, hey, do you have information about this country club? Because it is it's private, but you're so close to it. Maybe there's an opportunity there, because this one didn't have an HOA or have like a pool or amenities. So the question I asked them is, what is your greatest challenge? What are you seeing? And we know the typical thing is be lack of inventory, but so you get through that conversation, but you dive a little bit deeper in them. Like, what are you facing? What's something that I could do that possibly could help you out on, adding a little extra value, because I know there is no homes. And then we started talking about that. So just diving deeper with these new construction agents, and asking them, like, what is there that you could do? And what is your greatest challenge besides the lack of inventory?
Cool. I think that sets up some great opportunities. If you're consistent in dropping in once a week or once every other week, there will be a buyer that comes through that needs to sell their home. I know a lot of these developments, the sales agents sitting in there, they don't have a way to list the property, so they have to refer those listings out. So I think when you're number 1, consistent, number 2, in good relationship with those people, and number 3, really it's the timing. I think Fridays are great because most of their activity is over the weekend. So you're setting the stage for them to look for an opportunity to refer you. That's
And
awesome.
you can't be one and done. You just really, I mean, the consistency is so important, because how many people just try something and then they just disappear. So I think in the beginning, you really got to show face at least once a week so they can start to get to know your name and a go-to, a resource for them.
That's awesome. Anyone else have anything they want to say of some larger accounts they went after from a business person? You can raise your hand and we'll unmute you, or I think you can unmute yourself. So don't be shy about calling on some business people. I think we all tend to think other people are calling on them. They're not. 9, work on your phone scripting. Personalize and practice. Don't wing it. Every Thursday, I have to train my team on all their scripting with clients. We literally do these 3 things every Thursday, right? I find it that I have to do it every Thursday. I think I might switch it to 2 times a week because I get even a little rusty with my scripts if I only do it once a week. So it won't sound scripted if you practice it. If you have to have a piece of paper in front of you, it will sound very scripted. So what are the 3 scripts that we use? I love building a triangle for trust. Hey, Brock sent you here today because he is a great realtor and wants you well taken care of. How do you know Brock? Well, he's a friend of mine. We went to high school together. Oh my gosh, you went to high school with one of the best realtors that I know. I work with about 100 realtors and Brock is one of the best. You're so lucky to be working with him. He's a great negotiator, has great market knowledge. Brock sent you here today because he trusts me. It sounds like you trust Brock. Brock trusts me. So I'm here today to earn your trust. And I just want to make sure you feel well taken care of throughout this transaction. And so does Brock. That's why he sent you here today. So we call that the triangle for trust. It just builds that trust of, hey, you know this person that sent you here. So do I. You trust them. That's why you can trust me because they trust me. So build that triangle for trust. It just eases people's tensions when you're doing an initial consultation with that buyer or that listing. Have a fear-based close. Tell them something they should be fearful about if they don't work with you. Gosh, I had one of my agents, we want to offer 18 offers. She called 3 times. I called, email, and video texted twice yesterday on a Sunday. I don't think every lender and realtor is doing that. It's what it took to get this place under contract. The listing agent even put an email out. It's because of your realtor and your lender. They were just way above all the others on communication. There were 4 people that had the same exact offer. We chose you because of your realtor and lender's calls, right? So tell them those stories. Create some fear. Mine is that they could lose earnest money. If their lender doesn't perform, you could lose your earnest money. Brock sent you here today because he knows I'm not going to lose that $10,000 that you have on the line. I will perform. I am accountable to Brock because him and I do a lot of business together. And then if you can't get them in after that, lower the bar. Hey, I just want to have a 10-minute consultation with you. If you don't like me or you don't like what I have to say after that, I'll never call on you again. Will you just please give me 10 minutes of your time? Or, hey, I can run a CMA for you. I just want 10 minutes of your time to go over it. Will you give me 10 minutes to kind of go over your value and what I think you could do to better position your home for sale? Have that lower the bar, but use that last. And number 1, the best lead conversion is face-to-face. Don't sell over the phone. Don't sell over email. Get them face-to-face. Get them on Zoom. Almost everyone's comfortable with Zoom now. Get them in your office if you feel comfortable. Get them get you in their home if you feel comfortable. More business will be done face-to-face than it will over the phone and over email. Cool. Get face-to-face. 75% of clients work with the first person they meet in person. So I think meeting in person now is more over Zoom than it is actually in person. It's pretty easy to get people over Zoom. Cool. So get the people face-to-face, get them on Zoom. If you ever refer a client to me, you'll notice I won't do it unless I'm over Zoom. They got to be able to look me in the eye, know they can trust me on their mortgage. I got to look them in the eye, make sure I've added value, and make sure that I am delivering a great experience to them. Brock, go ahead.
With that Zoom stuff, a lot of times still people are a little uncertain with it. if you're doing any of your consultations or anything because of what's going on with society and you go with the Zoom, um, make sure you understand how to use Zoom. Don't practice on Zoom with the client that you're trying to earn. So get with a colleague, get with somebody that knows Zoom, or just start to use those functionalities so you can actually have a conversation with them, know your microphone works, your video works, all these things. Because I see so many people that are getting ready to do a Zoom and it's like the first time they've done one in like months and they're just trying to orchestrate themselves. Make sure that they look proper and professional when you're going in front of these type, when you're doing these, when you're in these type of positions.
Yeah. And if your office is, your desk is a little messy behind you, like mine is right now, you can just put a little virtual background on it. It looks all nice. I agree though. But get them face to face. There's still a thing about human connection. This is about the closest thing to human connection without being there. Guys, I just don't think Zoom's going away. I don't think people are coming into the office like they used to. I don't think people are as comfortable with you coming into their home as they used to. This is just too convenient. Now, is it as good as being face to face? It's not. I'm not as good over Zoom as I am in person, but I'm a lot better over Zoom than I am on the phone. And I can almost touch them. I can see them. I can look them into their eyes, look into their eyes, and I can read their body language, right? So that's becoming a sales professional, being able to read your body language. So these are some that I'm going to need some help on. So who thinks they have a great listing presentation? My person that was supposed to cover this did not show up.
What do you need, buddy?
Well, what are some things we can do right now, Brock, to educate and create urgency for selling their home?
Well, the biggest thing is talking about the big elephant in the room, where is the lack of inventory and what takes place, especially with the interest rates that are projected to go up in the spring market, as well as talk about the competition is going to increase as we wait, because the stereotype is what? That we know the spring market usually carries in, oh, I need to sell my house. I want to wait till the springtime. And so having those objections right now is one of the key things that we work on and we practice. Is the objection handling is don't wait. Now's the time to sell. The buying power changes. Your buyer audience could shift, and don't take chances on having somebody who wants to list the same 4-bedroom, 2.5-bath floor plan that you have, but they're going to list it $20,000 less because of a situation that might be in. So the lack of inventory actually helps you now without getting involved in that competition. So we've been educating our clients on what that looks like, as well as how we can help them if the purchasing side, because we know that homes can sell very quickly, but you almost need to talk about the game plan of how we're going to put them into their next home, and why, once again, the interest rates are so important. Because the biggest objection is, well, I know I can sell my house, but there's nothing else out there. So we really been focusing on that. And for those listening on here, is just to like make sure you have that objection handling of why it is so important, and what talk about solving their problem, which is finding a home. What does your off market list look like? What does your circle prospecting look like? Those ingredients really is what you have to talk about in the listing presentation, because they know that they could sell their house fast. There's too much media. There's too much information in the news now that it's not really that hard to sell a home. It's very hard to find a home. And that's the value that you bring.
Cool. I love that. Finding their next home for them. I think it's super important also to talk about trends. Eliminate people's fears of the bubble. Show what's going on with data, with forecasts that you guys all have access through the NMLS or through the MLS, excuse me. And, talk them through, know what their objections are going to be, and have the tools in your presentation to uncover that. When you talk at people with numbers, I can promise you it is going over their head. When you show them the data on a share screen or in front of them at their kitchen table or in your office, and you can point to the pictures, everybody's different. Everyone digests information different. Then we will have to, you have to show them these pictures, these trends, their appreciation. So make sure that we are substantiating why they should sell with us, why we believe the value will be this, what we think the next trends are going to be on their buy, and talk them through it. You guys have a wealth of information at your fingertips. So
One of the
just type-
questions,
Go ahead.
sorry, Chad. One of the questions that we ask people, because this is such a key ingredient, I can't enforce it enough greatly, is ask them how long have they been looking for a home? I mean, really, that is the biggest problem anymore is how long have you been looking? What sites have you been going to? And if I can expedite that and keep your interest rates low and find your next home for you at the value you're looking for, is that something that you would look to hire us? Because that's really the problem. And so I want to just really emphasize the education side of it is the buyer side, and why having the lender of being able to have the rates to explain things to you, to what that looks like. I mean, Chad, tell us, I mean, how many times are you hearing about rate locks? I mean, I'm sure that's going to be a topic of conversation soon of like, how much is it going to cost and what is it going to do? Because we are going to hear interest rates are going up, but educating them during the listing side is so very important.
Yep. Yeah. And anytime we can help you guys, because the big thing now is really two things: inventory, inflation, really three things: inventory, inflation, and interest rates. So the three I's, let's call it the three I's: inventory, interest rates, inflation. Those are the three hot words now. We have charts, we have forecasts that we can help improve your listing presentation with. So if you ever need some things for a tough listing presentation that you have, please always reach out to your loan officer who invited you here today. We have some great tools to help you with that. Very good points, Brock. Direct the conversation. Ask a lot of questions. I think the strongest word in the English language is why. Well, why do you say that? Tell me why. Why do you feel this way? How do you feel? How does this make you feel? Does this feel right? Are you ready to proceed? But when you can't get the answer that you're looking for, ask why 3 times. They will direct you to how to close them. They will tell you what they're looking for. The problem is most of us talk over the sale. My loan officers are all probably shaking their head because I was just blasting everybody on Thursday for talking past the sale. When you ask great questions and direct the conversation, you will see the buying signals, and you need to be quiet at that time and then just go in for the close. You don't need to say anything past it. So ask a lot of great questions. Be personal, but focus on business. Don't try and buddy sell. I get some mortgage recruiters and they call me and say, "Hey brother, how are you? I heard you present at this," or "Do you remember me?" "No, I don't remember you. What do you want? How can I help you?" I want to be professional and I want to take everyone's calls that are calling me, because I make a lot of calls and I want people to return my calls. So I always answer the phone or return phone calls if I get a good voicemail, even if there are people I don't want to talk to, like mortgage recruiters, right? But I just hear so much of I call it the bro sale. I don't want to be broed. I'm happy to talk to people, build a little bit of rapport with me. If you want to get me, talk about, "Oh my gosh, how did you get your wife? She's way more attractive than you deserve. And how did you get 3 beautiful little girls?" And the people that get to me know my daughter's names, know my wife's names, know I love the Cubs, or they find something to build a little commonality with, and they don't oversell it. They don't go overboard with it. They give a few compliments and get to business. And I think most people are busy and they want that. They don't want the long drawn out bro sale. So don't bro sale, be a professional, build rapport, but don't go overboard with it. So how can we establish that rapport? These are my hacks. I have the all about you form I already talked about. We live in this time and age where we can really get anything that we want. If we're just willing to put in the work, we can find out what people like. We can find out what they're passionate about. We just need to go to Google, Facebook, or LinkedIn. Okay. Learn about how active they are in their community or what interests they have in the community. Find some common interests, find some commonality, right? Like I see Karen on. Karen and I almost always talk about the Iowa Hawkeyes. We both love them. We will groan about a football game, or we'll text during a game or after a game or talk about it on that Monday. It's just common interest we have. And I really enjoy talking to her about it. So find that common bond you have with the client and remember it about them and talk to them about it. And, you know, the things that you can have like interests in, those are just better relationships long-term. And once again, be brief on it and get to business, especially when we're dealing with our clients. If it's a partner you work with all the time, like Karen and I have worked together for, gosh, I think 6 or 7 years, we can talk about our families. We can talk about things. We can go a little bit longer, but eventually we always get to business. And I think you got to gauge that with your clients and with your referral partners that your business comes from. So what do we believe the perfect model to be for realtors? I believe this is the best business model. Okay. So it's our top, that should say top 50 past clients. I messed that up a little bit. 25% of our business should come from our top 50 past clients. These are clients that know us, like us, referred us, and have used us. I think another 25% should come from our sphere of influence. I think 25% should come from our database. And then I think 25% should come from business professionals. So if you all ever want to know why some have really great years and then come back, I see it with new agents all the time. So if we have any new agents on, they just go to this area, the sphere, because they already have a sphere. They have family and friends and people they know that like them and want to help them out. And they go all in and they do really, really well for like their first 2 or 3 years. And then they never grow or they go backwards because they've tapped out that pillar of business. They can't get any more from it. Those people have all helped you out. We've tapped out the connections through that sphere, right? And they don't build these other spheres or these pillars of businesses. Okay. So a good business is a diversified business. A good lead tracker, as we track our leads, there are 4 to 5 pillars of business. Okay. So there's 5 days in the week. We have to work these 5 different pillars of business 1 day per week. Not every day, not some of the time. The best businesses are diversified and have leads coming in from all kinds of different sources. So if you've went backwards and you're newer, or you're doing great out of the gates and you're new and you don't have these others, start developing them, and they come from our past lists. And the best realtors that I see have a very balanced approach of how they call on and how they prospect. So make sure you're working really hard to have the perfect business model. Have 400 people organized in software. Do a 1,000-person farm. I still think farming is very effective for realtors. I have a top 50 favorite past client list. Have your VIP list or your sphere. Cool. Most agents go in one area and they get between 5 and 10 million. They get a lot of pats on the back and then they don't grow past that. I see it on the lender side too. So these other 3 areas other than your sphere will help you bust above that glass ceiling. Keep communicating. Have a monthly mailer. If you can't get to monthly, start quarterly. I had to start doing it twice a year because I was doing none. I'm now to monthly. It was a progression to get there. I didn't go from doing nothing to doing it every month. So give yourself some grace on some of these things. If you're not doing it at all, start by doing it once or twice a year, right? So if you can't send out a monthly mailer, send out a couple per year and then work on it over time to get to monthly. I do a letter of the heart. We'll send you an example and an evidence of success. By the way, I now realize I'm past the time that this was allotted. It's going to go a little longer. Probably got about another 15 minutes. I'm sorry I'm past the time. I won't take offense if anyone's got to jump off, but I want to give you all 22 of these things. So make sure you have 2 things that you're sending. I love the letter of the heart. It is the hardest thing for me to write, but I get the best response from it. Every time one goes out, I probably get 15 to 20 calls, and magically 30 to 40 past client referrals come in, or someone says, hey, I got your letter. I've been meaning to call you. Were they going to call me if that letter didn't come out? I don't know, but I know I just get a ton of activity after these things go out, and it's not just coincidence. So send something in the mail. I think there's 3 types of communication. 4 types. There's the phone. We need to do that. There's texting, which I absolutely loathe, but you got to text. It's just part of our communication now. I think social media, and then the 4, I'll group them into one: videos and mailing. Okay. Now my wife will look at the mail every time anything sent. Any of y'all that send us the letter of the heart or your EOS, she always reads it. Cool. I'm a video guy. You send me a video, I'm going to watch it. I'll watch every video that ever comes across, right? It's just what I look at. I don't always look at the mailers. I don't always look at the letters. I always watch the videos. Cool. I don't always look at the text, but I'll always return the phone calls. Someone leaves me a lifelong voicemail, I will listen to all 5 minutes of it and call them back with an answer. Okay. So that's just how I communicate. My wife is never responding to your voicemail, ever, ever, ever. You might get her maybe on every other text message, but if you Facebook her, social media, I didn't mention, that's another one. Or you send a letter, she's getting it and she's reading it. And when she reads it, she loves those people. So just know everyone communicates different and wants different things. So you have to do them all. Not how you communicate. That's not how everybody communicates. Ask these people for your help. So call twice a year with your past client calls. Remember the letter of the week, 26 letters in the alphabet, 52 weeks in the year. Did I do a good job? Can I please ask you a favor? Can you look for one introduction to a client who's looking to buy and sell real estate this year? And I would add to that, do you know who that person is now? Do you know who that person is now? They'll give it to you then. And if they say no, do you mind if I follow up with you in 90 days to see if you found anybody? Most of the time it comes in that 90-day call. Cool. So keep communicating. Ask them for their help. They want to help you. Here's an example of the letter of the heart. It should be uncomfortable. Please don't do the holiday card that everything in your life is spectacular and you have no adversity. Okay. People don't want to see it. People want real, share a little pain, share some successes, share a lesson you've learned. Okay. Don't try and make your life perfect. It makes people gag. Share pain, be real, share something you've learned, share a success, but don't have it all be about success. Cool. So that's an example of the letter of the heart. Be vulnerable. People like vulnerable. Our pastor's wife spoke yesterday at church, and she was just so vulnerable about some of the shortcomings she felt she had as a mom and as a wife and as like a woman of Christ. And I was just like, oh my gosh, I just fell in love with her after this talk because she shared all of her struggles and all of her pain. And you would think she's this perfect woman. She's put on a pedestal. She's not. And it just endeared me to her that she would share that much pain and be that much vulnerable. It's like she could call for me tomorrow for a donation to the church. She's pretty much getting whatever she wants out of me if she made that call. So know your clients are the same way. We talked about Ford. Remember, if you struggle like I do of building relationships, this is the secret: family, occupation, recreation, and dreams. All right, here's the Millionaire Forum. How many of you are filling out a greatness tracker? Raise your hand. Cool. We call it the Millionaire Forum in the core, the coaching program I'm a coach in, because there's no way you could fill this out every week for 5 years and not make $1 million. It all comes down to activity, tracking, and being consistent. Okay. It's not going to happen overnight. It's not even going to happen your first year. It's probably not even going to happen your second year. It might not even happen your third year, but by that 4th or 5th year, I promise it will work. I can tell you, I was in coaching for my first 2 years. I hated it. I'm a coach now. I almost quit my 3rd semester. I was like, this is miserable. I can't stand it. There is no way I'm going to keep doing this. I hate it. Now I'm a little bit of a rebel and I like to not follow rules, but I said, I'm going to do it for one more semester. I'm going to be surrendered and I'm going to fill it out. I swear to God, after that 2nd full year of doing this, I doubled. And it was just like that. So it was like I was doing all this work, all this activity, and planting all these good seeds. And I probably wasn't very good at it. And I probably butchered some of the voicemails, but there was a drought for 2 years and none of the seeds that I planted sprouted. And then all of a sudden, that it going into the 3rd year, the harvest was just unbelievable. I doubled like that in that semester, and I've never looked back. So it took me 2 years of just being super consistent. Mind you, I had been in the mortgage business for 14 years before that at a very successful level. So it took me just 2 years. So that would be, gosh, over 100 of these, right? So like 110 of these to get to where I saw the benefit in my business. And it was just like that. So they say a bamboo tree, the roots in a bamboo tree, you can't see them. It's all underground. And they go like 8 to 9 feet underground. And the bamboo tree doesn't grow for like, I think it's 6 or 7 years. And then all of a sudden within 8 weeks, it triples in size. That's what will happen with your greatness tracker, but you have to be disciplined. So what is a greatness tracker? You have to see 10 people face to face every week. You have to break bread, have coffee, or have food with someone 3 times or 3 people a week. You have to talk to 75 people per week, 30 outbound calls per day, remember. You have to do 2 events a month. You have to do 4 videos that reach 1,000 people. You have to prospect at least 4 hours per day. Half of your work day, if you're working 8 hours a week, should be in prospecting time. You have to write 20 thank you cards. That should lead to 10 deals or 10 leads and 3 deals. Does it happen overnight? Will it happen right away? No, it won't. But the consistency that you need to have that business that should be on your 5-year vision we talked about, the work comes in right here. And being accountable to the work is up to you. 18, you got to track your leads. Too many times, too many people get a lead in the grocery store, in passing, at an open house, at an inspection, on the phone, in the line to pick up your kids from school. And then you forget about it. And then you never follow up. And then you see another agent sign in their front yard because you didn't track your leads well. How do I know? Because this used to always happen to me. My follow-up was not good. I did not call 8 times until I handed the lead back to the referral source. And if I didn't get them on that first call, I wasn't getting them because I wasn't following up after it. They had to call me back. So the lead tracker is the best tool. Many buyers that won't get a property due to this low inventory can be your buyers next year or the year after that. But you have to have the system and the tracking. Yes, I have a great CRM that I pay like $10,000 a year for. It's got every feature you want. I still track my leads old school on a handwritten lead tracker on my desk and on my Google Docs. Still to this day, the CRM is not as effective as me having to write it down and track everything. And it's always on my desk for follow-up. So if I get 5 minutes here in between meetings, someone's late to a meeting, I can squeeze in a couple calls. It just always keeps it front and center that I need to be following up with people. If you take nothing away from today, please take this away. Track your leads, follow up with people. They want the follow-up. Otherwise, they wouldn't have asked you the question. Time blocking, green time. It needs to be in your calendar every day when you prospect. Okay. So I have client meetings every day and I have prospecting time every single day. It is in my calendar every day. I don't know who I'm meeting with from 2 to 4 today. I know I'm meeting with clients, so because it's time blocked and my staff fits the people within my calendar. Actually, it's 2 to 5 on Mondays. So I know there's 6 spots for client meetings. And sometimes they'll even schedule me one after I'm supposed to go home if that client needs to be seen. I call every Monday morning, call realtors, Cool. Tuesday, I call my Tuesday updates. Wednesday, I call my pre-approved buyers. Why am I so efficient in it and effective and consistent? Because it's in my calendar. I am a slave to my calendar. That was the number one thing I took away from the last summit that I was at for the core. Be a slave to your calendar. It just leads to a better life. I'm never thinking too far forward. I'm never thinking in the past. I'm thinking what I'm in now and maybe the next thing. So it just, I honestly have zero stress when it comes to work. I just don't get stressed anymore. It's because I don't focus on everything. I focus on the task at hand and I focus on the next thing. I know who the person is right after I'm done with you. I don't know who the 3 to 4 people are after that. I will prepare for that about 10 minutes before their call. So we have to be super well we have to be super good in our time blocking. 10 to 12 hours, not daily. You don't need to call on people 10 to 12 hours daily. Sorry, that's a typo too. I missed that one, Carrie. Sorry, I put daily there. Weekly. So I believe in 4 hours per day. You need to be in money-making activities. That's 20 hours a week. I think the minimum you can do is 10 to 12. So if you're not currently doing that now, don't expect to get up to 20 where I'm at, because I've been doing this for 7 years like this. But start with maybe 8 to 10. Give yourself some wins. Red time. These are things like right now, you guys are in red time. I am hopefully in green time, because I hope I do enough for you guys today to have you send the loan officer that sent you here today your next couple buyers. So this is green time for me. I'm trying to prospect and help you guys improve your business so we get a little bit of it back. But that's what that is an actual calendar for me. So if you want to see what my day looks like, that is my actual calendar. Yes, I'm in guitar lessons right now, Tom. You'll have to, I'll come play for you sometime. Okay. I'm learning how to play Metallica right now. But that is my Wednesday calendar. I can tell you because I take guitar lessons on Wednesday. That is literally what it looks like. You will see very little white space in it. I'm like running to the bathroom in between appointments because my team never gives me enough time. My only break is at 4 o'clock where it says, do not schedule over. That is red time. So you can see the green time and activities that I have in there versus the red time. So my meetings are red time. I do a marketing review with Carrie at 10. I had a couple employee reviews. Sean Bleeker's an employee, so I had his employee review there. So that's not a great day. Thanks for showing them my worst day, Carrie, for putting that on there. My worst day of prospecting time, you show on our example. That was
pick another one.
That was a week where we were doing a lot of employee reviews, but that is what a typical day looks like. It is just jam-packed. So if you don't have a great assistant like I have, let me give you a little hack. Set your day by pulling out your calendar. And I put 3-minute reminders, 3 minutes before I got to move on to the next appointment. Kickstart Your Heart by Motley Crue goes off on my phone alarm. So I know I got to wrap up, I got to get done, and I got to move on to the next thing. So I have Carrie come in and says, dude, you got to get on to the next thing. She already brought me a little Post-it note that said I'm running over. And it's just, you got to do what you need to do to make your day effective. So I believe in starting the day, visualizing the day, setting timers on your phone, because not only does it help remind you to jump on to the next thing, but it helps you visualize your day, what exactly you have to do to be successful that day. Also during that time, I do my 3 wins. What are my 3 things I have to do today to give myself a pat on the back and a win at the end of the day? We had a great realtor. The meeting this morning was 1. I got a new agent to work with us. Number 2 was this meeting. Number 3, I have a rate shopper at 5 o'clock. I know it's super competitive. He's got like 16 loan estimates he's bringing, so I got to close him hard. If I do those 3 things, I'm going to win the day. So the red time is, hey, this has got to get done, but I'm not in money-making activities during this time. Okay. And then the yellow times are optional things. So you'll see these are yellow because I'm blessed to have Derek Lockery on my team. And if it's an initial call and the client hasn't done what it takes to get me, given us all their documentation, has a lot of process questions in their email, Derek will jump on. So those mean I can take them if I'm available, but you'll notice that's all green time right there. So I'm not available. I'm not in these meetings. Derek can take them. So that way I can prospect this whole green time. But green is you cannot move it. It does not get moved. Red is it can be moved, but you still has to get done that day. Yellow is optional. So we color code our calendar so everybody knows how to take care of it. Printed schedule. I'll give you the perfect work week in the recap. Once again, you'll notice that the personal time is in there first. But this is exactly what my weeks look like. A good business is a boring business. It's predictable, repetitive, and can be executed daily. I have a good business. It is a boring business. I do the same thing every Monday that I've done every Monday, right? My structure is the same on Tuesday. It's very predictable. It's very repetitive, but it is consistent. And people typically like consistency. So have a perfect work week, have it blocked off. Once again, put your personal time in first. You can see mine vary a little bit. My fully filled out one, that's tough to say, we'll have like Kristen's Bible study in here and date night with the girls on Thursday. That is all in my perfect work week. So once again, fit your work life around your personal life. All right. David, if you can unmute yourself.
People rarely say that.
This is my good friend, David, one of the best and brightest agents that I work with. I wanted to have him share some successes that he's had on getting on a personal budget and just kind of some things that have helped your finances get in order and become successful from using this budget.
Yes, I have my brain is not wired, or certainly my discipline is not the same as Chad's. But a couple of times I hit ask for help sort of with just in terms of my personal mortgage and sort of planning. And 3 times he gave me a budget and ran through it. And finally on the 3rd time I did it. And it made a huge difference. I mean, I will not say that I am the most disciplined of monthly budgeters, but the most important thing that you got me to do was doing monthly tracking. And just assessing, what am I earning, what am I spending, and what am I saving? I mean, I think we've all had pretty good years over the last couple of years. I would have no idea what I had done. I mean, it's like, there's money in the bank, but I also wouldn't be as deliberate about it and making a plan if I didn't. If you can't change your activity. I mean, I can't. I mean, if I didn't see what I was doing. So, I mean, having a goal, but also the assessment. That was super helpful.
And if I could just say, like, the growth I've seen in you since you started doing it, I get awesome responses from you, and like, I think savvy business man or woman responses of like, hey, this lead source gives me this now. This is about what I earn off of it. This might go away. I got to figure out how to replace that, or I got to figure out how to go in here. You and I have those conversations now. And when we first started working together, those conversations weren't there. And I think just the tracking of your personal money really helped you flow in well to the tracking in your business too.
Yeah, no, like I have a very precise sense of where my business came in sources from last year, and one of them shifting this year. So I would not be as attuned to, I'm like, okay, that's 20% of my business. Yeah. I need to, if I say I want to grow this year, not only do I have to grow, but I also have to backfill.
I think stress, anxiety, and fear comes from not being prepared, not planning, and not tracking. So I can honestly say, like, at 32 years old, I was at a cardiologist thinking I was dying of panic attacks because I was so reactionary in my business. I just don't have any of that stress or anxiety anymore because everything is so planned and tracked. And I know there's nothing to be fearful about. I got to go over here and do this right here to fix this problem over here.
Yeah.
Anything else you want to share, David?
Yeah, I mean, I think in the beginning, I wasn't in a great position and I did not want to see it. I always talk about it, it's like, oh, I need to open the envelopes. I mean, I look at points where I was not in financial position. I knew it was in the credit card bill, but if I didn't open it up, it didn't matter. So I feel like this and then tracking of this forces me to open the envelopes and just be honest with where I'm at. But I love to do my budget in a good month. This month I know, I'll look at things. I mean, the revenue will be good, but, look at my retirement. That's not going to be great, but it doesn't matter because I know there are other months. but I wouldn't be doing it at all. So
awesome. Well, I've just seen you growing so much in this area, and I'm glad I could be a small part in it, but you did all the work, and it's just awesome to see what you've done the last 3 or 4 years.
thanks for your help.
Wealth accumulator, guide your client, become a pro, set yourself apart. How many realtors are there out there? Brock, do you know this question? How many licensed realtors there are in our country?
Brock actually had to hop off.
Oh, he did. There's a lot, right? There's a lot. So how do you differentiate yourself? I think it's becoming a financial wizard. I think it's knowing your market well, becoming a great negotiator, being a good network, having those, like, gosh, my last home didn't even get on the private network. It was door knocking and networking, and they found someone who was going to sell their home when their kids graduated 4 months later. Well, I said, why don't you go put our offer in front of them right now, and we will let them stay in there until their kids graduate. So that all came from being a great networker. I think the last thing is being a financial wizard, right? So this is what I believe financially. Any of you that send your clients to anyone, any of the loan officers that sent you here today, this is what we go over with them. We want to make sure they do not become house poor. We want to make sure they don't only buy this home, but they're on track to achieve all their other financial goals. I promise you 99% of the loan officers out there don't do this. I promise 99.9% of the realtors out there don't do this. This is the number one thing that you can do to set yourself apart. So you should buy a home about 3 times your annual income. You should live your life in thirds. A third of your money should go to living expenses. A third of your money goes to taxes. A third of your money should be saved and given to charity. And I think it's super important you talk to my lender to make sure you're living your life that way. So we get you into the appropriate home. Just those 2 lines, guys, if you can master those, I promise you are setting yourself apart from the competition. That was worth your 1.5 hours of listening to me speak today. If you can just learn those 2 scripts. Cool. Buy a home 3 times your annual income, live your life in thirds. I think it's super important, number 2, for people to have a liquid reserve. Okay. Too many people buy a home and then something goes wrong, and then they come back to you. They should have been prepared that something could go wrong. Water heaters go out, roofs need to be fixed, repairs need to happen. These things happen. They need to have a reserve. Not everyone needs to put 20% down. Some people should put 10% down and keep that other 10% in their savings, right? But it's forced on everybody that they think a bigger down payment's better. It's not if you're going to go into credit card debt to repair your home. How are you going to get that money back out? So we coach them through that. And guys, we don't force people into things, but we give them advice and give them options. Number 3, the best investment in the world is a 401k. Do you have one? Are you participating? When you can talk about there's things better than this home that I'm going to get for you, and it's super important that you achieve all your financial goals, you guys are building clients for life. When you just focus on the home, it's what they think you care about, is your paycheck, your commission. They don't feel loved and cared for and advised. When you can talk about these other things and be competent in them, I promise it sets you apart. And then 4, get into the stock market. Okay, don't look at it right now, please. It is very, very ugly. Don't go look at it, but you should be in the stock market. And I'll put my check in as I do my February budget, just like I do every month. Doesn't matter if it's up and down or down. My money goes in every month. So the more you can talk about that, the better. Okay. Just know anyone you send us, we are going through this exercise with them, and we are making you look good. Last, and definitely the most important, I can tell you I've lost some colleagues, people that have been with me in the mortgage industry when I got in this year. I have seen a few realtor partners that I've worked with over the years pass away. I have seen just a lot of people that I have a lot of respect for that lost this last one. And guess what? They didn't put their production on their tombstone. I've been to a couple of their funerals. No one cared what their numbers were. No one even talked about what they did for a living. They talked about the person they were. I know we all think this is super important, and what we do is just vital to the economy. No one's dying if they don't get into their home, right? No one, it's not life or death. People try and make it because it's your biggest investment you'll probably make, but it's not. And what we do is hard, especially you guys. I have so much respect for all of you on wanting to get better, but the respect I have most for you is that you've navigated these last 2 years, braving your health, taking clients out, dealing with people's anxiety of who's in their home, what's in their home, that you guys have done the work to make this the best real estate market I've ever seen. That's not because of us, it's because of you. And I just commend you for everyone that's taken that risk, everyone that's worked super hard during this time. It blows me away. You can ask my team. There was a little small complaint about an agent the other day, and I just had to rip them. I go, you sit behind a desk all day. They're out taking people out of home. They have to, keep the house clean, have masks on. You all don't have to go through any of that. Don't you ever talk bad about someone that's going through all of that to get us a deal, right? And it wasn't talking bad. It was a little small complaint. But I say that because these times are hard. This business has always been hard. I can't imagine what you guys go through right now. Just know I am so appreciative of all the hard work you do. The agent or the loan officers that set you here today, we're blessed to get to ride the coattails of all of the work you put in, all the fear you manage, all the seller and buyer anxiety you have to deal with. We're just so, so grateful. So just, if I could leave you with one thing, there's a book that I read and I made all my people read called The Miracle Morning. And this book has just changed and saved my life, to be honest with you. I can't think of anything more impactful in my life than this book. And I just read it for a second time. And I won't take the details away. Just trust me, you need to go read it. But have a morning routine. Mine's meditation, Bible, gratitude journal, and exercise. Find out what yours are. Don't think that you don't have time to do it, because sometimes my morning routine is 5 minutes. And I do a few jumping jacks and I write 3 things I'm grateful for. And I read a quick chapter in the Bible. And it just puts me into a good place. Sometimes I do it for an hour in the morning and read 10 pages on top of that and exercise. Sometimes it's 5 minutes, but it happens every morning. Set a target weight for yourself and stay there. I'm working really hard to stay. I'm really, really good at getting down to that goal weight. I'm really good at it, but guess what? Once I get there, Tom, it's a celebration. Like, yeah, I hit it. Beers come after it, pizza, ice cream. I never stay at it. So my goal this year is just to hit it and stay at it. So set that target weight for yourself. Best thing in my physical fitness is having a trainer and having an accountability partner. I have someone I work out with every day. He's someone I respect. He's in my driveway every single morning at 6 a.m. And I'll tell you, about half of the time, if he wasn't there, I wouldn't be doing the workout. So have a trainer and an accountability partner. Do everything you can to get 7 hours to 8 hours of sleep. I heard something really cool. 5 hours before you go to bed, no caffeine. 3 hours before you go to bed, no screen time. 2 hours before you go to bed, no work. I've been incorporating that with the Miracle Morning. I got to tell you, I'm getting the best sleep. I feel the best I've ever felt in my life. I've always woke up super anxious, a little edgy, a little aggressive and angry. And my mom used to have to throw Nerf balls at me to wake me up because I would wake up swinging. And that's just how I woke up. That's all went away from this. Eat healthy. Keto's been really good for me. Drink lots of water. You guys probably see me chugging my gallon of water. I've worked really hard to drink a gallon of water a day, and just have someone that holds you accountable. If you're not here, I've seen it with family members. It's so sad when I see someone that's been so successful and they die an early death because they weren't taking care of themselves. And I hope I'm not being too blunt or brash, but I just would never want to see that from any people on this call, and definitely the people I have relationships with. So this is all super important. but you're taking care of yourself is the most important. So if I can inspire you to do anything, make sure you get into that morning routine. It will change your life. And when you're fit and feel good about yourself, guess what? The business comes from it as well. So if you work on that one thing, everything else will work itself out. So I know that was a lot. I am super sorry how long I went, but I hope and just have it my wish that you take 3 things today, not all 22. It's impossible. Once again, this is an 8-year journey for me to master these 22 things. But take 3 things and don't go from doing nothing to like, I'm going to do it every day, because then when you fail at it, it makes you feel weak and then you stop doing it. Give yourself grace. Maybe it's 4 out of 5 days you're making 30 outbound calls. Maybe it's 1 day a week you're making 30 outbound calls. Whatever that thing was that stuck out today, please know I'm here to keep you accountable to it. Our next event is Realtor Coaching. I would like to help any of you for free with any of these things. I will form some coaching groups. And if you have any interest, just enter your name into the chat. We're going to be pairing you up with 2 other realtors that are similar. This is how I coach mortgage lenders across the country. And the way I thought I could give back to the real estate community more was just helping you out with your lead generation, your lead conversion, and your lead tracking for free. So if you would like to enter into that, just enter your name in the chat. Look out for one opportunity for the loan officer that invited you today. And just thank you so much for your time and your referrals and everything you've done over these last 2 years to help us out. It's definitely something we are very grateful for, to have you in our lives, and appreciate everything you do. Have a great Monday.